Speaking of hurricanes and fish, though, the IRS and taxes.
What about them?
I saw a video.
Down with the IRS. Boo.
Dude, this video was from the early 2000s.
Okay.
And they were all ex or past employed workers for the IRS. So 2 of them were agents. 1 of them worked for the IRS, not an agent. And they all left because they figured out federal income tax is non-constitutional. And it's actually, there wasn't a law put in place. So they're like, people are just paying federal income tax when they don't have to.
Unlawfully.
Yeah. So they're collecting taxes unlawfully. And so they quit. And someone put out a thing. They said, if you can find the law that says you have to pay federal income tax, we'll give you $50,000. And that's how the one IRS agent found it. Or she's like, okay, yeah, I work for the IRS. I'm going to find it and make $50,000. And she's like, there's no law.
What do you mean there's no law? We have to pay federal tax.
She even said upwards of 60 million people in the U.S. in the early 2000s were not paying federal income taxes. And then one guy, I saw another video, one guy that was highlighted on this, he's like, yeah, I'm not paying taxes on that. And he was brought to court, and they're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
We don't have a law. And so they couldn't charge him with anything.
What? This doesn't make sense. Don't people go to jail for this stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
But then this is where I think the conspiracy stuff comes in.
Yeah.
I think they're collecting it illegally. And I think a couple of years ago, because this thing got brought up again, probably like 3 years ago, someone put out a reward if you can prove that the IRS, it's illegal for them to collect federal income tax, we'll pay $300,000.
Dang.
Did you prove that it's legal?
That it's constitutional, that it's the law.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And no one could, but then the IRS came out and said, actually, no, here, in this section, section 3 of this article, it says that it is, you have to pay it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think they just wrote
Wrote
that
it
down.
in. They wrote it in.
So I'm not paying taxes anymore.
Long story short.
I don't know. I kind of want to look into it.
That's such a wild thing. When did federal income tax start? When did that happen? Because it hasn't been around for 100 years. It's been around since
it was
the 50s or 60s.
the Rothschilds.
The Rothschilds?
I think there's some conspiracy with the Titanic in taxes.
February 3rd, 1913.
1913. Okay.
When was the
way
Titanic?
Off. Literally way off. 12th.
12.
1912?
Yep.
Yes.
Look at me.
Dude, that's really good.
Look at me.
Because the story goes, I forget who was on the Titanic. I think we may have talked about this. I don't know.
A little bit.
But there's someone on the Titanic that was a politician or whatever that were very opposed to the federal reserve.
Yeah.
Like, so collecting taxes for the Federal Reserve and stuff. And the Rothschilds and somebody else, another family were pro.
What's the big guy?
Rothschild.
No,
Rothschild and the Vanderbilts.
And the
Rockefeller.
That's what it was. Yeah. We talked about him. Yeah.
They were supposed to be on the Titanic, and they decided not to get on last minute.
Because they got a tip.
And then these guys that were very opposed to the Federal Reserve died in the Titanic. A year later, federal income tax and the Federal Reserve was established.
It's actually kind of like the opposite of kind of our guiding principles for this country, right?
So explain that.
Like,
I'm at like a 42.
We were at like
We're go backwards.
we were mad about taxes. No taxation without representation.
Oh yeah, our founding fathers were like very opposed to taxes.
Okay.
High taxes.
Or representation. Which was it? Genuine question.
Huh?
Is it they were opposed to taxes or representation?
They would say no taxation without representation.
That means
that's
what is that?
different.
It makes no sense to me. I don't understand any of that. What is
I
the
represent that you need to pay me taxes. Nope, you got us there.
Well, you are representing yourself, so.
But that's where like the issues with like lobbying and people who are involved in profits from the legislation they're passing, that's where all that becomes an issue, because we're not being represented because there aren't working class people in government passing the laws about taxes, so they don't feel the pains we feel.
Sure there is. There's like tons of like 80-year-old billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I relate
worked
to that.
really, really hard.
That represents
blue-collar
me.
jobs.
I've been last week I was talking to my buddy about this, and I won't say his name because I don't want him to get in trouble for his thoughts. I can't.
Anthony Russo from Bible is Funny. But anytime we have to name somebody that's for bad, we'll just say it's Anthony.
But he works for a company that is contracted by the U.S. government.
To build.
I can't say. I don't want to say that. I don't want to get him. He builds stuff.
Builds.
Really cool stuff.
Exactly.
Anyways, he's saying it's such a rigged system. He's like, so we're paid by the government, but yet the government is taxing their own employees. He says, then every nut, every bolt, every tool, the government buys it and then taxes themselves. So he's like, they're just collecting taxes.
Double dip.
And he's like, it's a rigged system.
Yeah.
I said, yes.
The house always wins.
Yeah.
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 Is the U.S. government Vegas?
Should we rise up? Wait, no.
Listen,
Down with. Wait, no. Sorry.
taxes are such a bummer.
Dude, they are. It's just a lot, dude, because it's just on everything and it keeps going up and it just sucks. Like it's just.
And then why I know we've joked about it before, but like when at the end of the year when you have to do your tax return, it's the pressure of that of like figuring out how much do I owe, or like, and you have to come up with it. And if you're wrong,
that's the funny joke.
You get in trouble.
Yeah, it's like, hey, so you got to pay like your taxes or whatever. Okay, how much? I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
But if you get it wrong, you're going to prison.
That's what it is. Yeah. Like just tell us.
You have 3 months.
You want to hear my tax solution? I firmly believe in this. Flat rate sales tax.
Yeah.
Like
get rid of
no
income tax.
no weird anything else. It's just a flat rate on anything purchased.
All right, commie.
They wouldn't be able to collect enough.
I think we should
enough.
No, they would
Unless
just be
they upped it to like 40% tax.
Well, what is sales tax right now? It's
7% in the state of Florida.
Yeah, they'd have to hike it up quite a bit. But I'm more pro that than.
Yeah. But then you can make your decisions on what you purchase. You can be more wise. Yeah.
Can we all just pool our money together? Like as American people? And just grab like whatever you want. Whenever you need it, just grab whatever you want.
Socialism.
Take care of yourself.
One of the big arguments is how much money we lose because of illegal hiring. And so if they were all paying the flat rate tax on things purchased in the United States, then we'd gain all of that money back.
Interesting.
I think they're collecting more taxes than what they're leading on to.
Probably.
And that's why we're able to pay billions and billions of dollars to certain countries.
Here's the dealio. Here's my pipe dream. Okay. And I realize that this is kind of meant to be accomplished by electing the people that you want to represent you. But instead of that, I kind of want to have the ability to check box things that I want my taxes to go to, things that I'm interested in funding.
True that, like police and firemen, the garbage.
Like a certain amount of our taxes could be attributed however we want. So it's like, cool.
Exactly. Because think about, what's happening in the House right now where we're having all this trouble electing a speaker.
We just got one.
Oh, we did? Oh, okay. So I haven't listened
Seems
to
like a pretty stand-up guy.
Bluetooth or what?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, when we have those issues, it's because they put all this petitioning and legislation up in addition to it. So when they can't settle on something, it might be over some clause in some document about, saving fish that are going extinct in the country of Portugal. And it's like, that's so dumb. Mm-hmm. Why are we focused on that?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about the property tax and homeschool thing they tried to do in like the early 2000s? So like property tax pays for public education. And so like if you opt out of public education and want to just privately, either private school or homeschool, then you wouldn't have to pay property taxes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it got shot down so dang fast.
I'm sure everyone listening right now loves hearing about taxes. This is like a conversation that we have 100 cameras off.
Yeah.
All the kids are
taxes are dumb.
I hate taxes. I think they're getting a little bit of a indication of where we lean politically, though, with all this conversation, though.
I'm leaning in no direction. Really.
You said I was a socialist. Is that what you guys said? I'm that. That's where I am at right now. I think that sounds good.
Take it back.
No, because I love social media, so I'm a socialist.
I love being social.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
I'm just a socialist, guys. I love going to parties.
We're not socialists.
I love going to socialist parties.
Oh.
But yeah. But speaking of taxes,
what?
We are not to go anywhere. I gotta pee.